Good evening. Uh, these are some thoughts on Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens had an impoverished childhood. Um, he worked as on shoes. His father was in prison for debt. He went to a debtor's prison, and his family were had the shock of their lives. And Dickens had the worst time of it. In fact, he wrote a book called David Copperfield, which is almost an allegory or a kind of almost a look in on how he felt and what his youth was like. It's not a biography, an autobiography, but it is a very interesting story um, with similar um, themes or um, things like that. Um, but Dickens was a writer of extreme repute, and everybody basically has heard of him. But um, the one thing that seems to be lacking, I feel, in modern times, is a respect for his work, because his work is, although quite sometimes heavy, difficult to get through at times. Notably, the changes in language, turns of phrase, expression, if you will, and the not so much streams of consciousness, but the way that the conversations are very almost archaic. There's lots of old-fashioned stuff in there. But his touch, his humility, is what's astounding about Dickens. Is that he touches the heart so often in his, I'll say, analysis and his portrayal of people's character and their heart. His plot lines are genius, of course, but the other thing about him is not just the poetic movement of the words in his stories. Some of it is actual poetry. It's just I can't even. There's no words to describe some of his descriptive work, but his his social comment of the times, his attitude to people is the most heartwarming. Is really the crux of this video. I won't be very long, but it's his care for people, and this is the problem I feel that it's in modern art critiques and critics, is that there's a lot of character snubbing or cancelling, as it's called these days. People are getting snubbed. They're getting cancelled for their past. And you aside from the fact that someone's personal life or someone's mistakes hardly are anyone's business unless they're a historian who honestly knows what they're talking about. And for me, I don't even look into a lot of people's working lives or personal lives that I read, write about, or listen to, unless I'm a huge fan. And I'd just like to say that my opinion is that the work needs to be respected, regardless of misdemeanors, and I think it happens for a lot of, the word is artists these days, art, but we're talking about literature in this case. So next time you're thinking of an artist or a musician or anybody really, doctor, nurse, brain surgeon, whatever, just cut them some slack, because I honestly do feel that there is a lot of work done that is criticised in post analysis, or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of that is theoretical, because it's hardly objective when measured against the prejudice of the person who very often might be just picking holes in a body of work that is astounding, um, in my opinion. Um, Start with A Christmas Carol. That's the one to start with if you haven't read any of Charles Dickens, because you'll get the idea.